Let's talk about managing people who are hard to manage. Howdy, folks. Welcome to another episode of Making Dough Show. We're obsessed about talking about making dough in the restaurant industry. In going through a lot of management, different topics, I get a lot of questions about this. I'm in the weeds with it. We own 4 restaurants here in the San Antonio area. And for the last few years, I've been, again, in the weeds alongside of you, digging the soil and working alongside of people. You find all kinds of people that you need to manage in management. That makes it so exciting, isn't it? And sometimes there's some category of people that you find out that is those individuals are a little bit hard to manage. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So first, let's define what is a person who's hard to manage. These are individuals that need to be managed all the time. So that's an example of somebody who needs to be managed all the time, or they will not perform at their best. They need extra coaching, extra management, extra feedback from you on an ongoing basis. Now, this could be because this team member is inexperienced, and obviously it is normal for you to expect that. So that shouldn't be shocking. If somebody is inexperienced, has not been doing their job for a really long time, they're going to need way more attention and your time. And then there is this other category of team members who are disengaged. Those individuals are also very hard to manage, where they're disengaged. They don't necessarily care as much, and that gets me really fired up. Those individuals who don't really necessarily care about our guests. They don't care about the restaurant, their waste, what a big deal. Those people are also obviously very hard to manage and maybe culturally not a good fit. So this is the first question I have for you. If you have team members that are hard to manage in your team, the first question you need to ask of yourself if they are culturally a good fit. If they're not culturally a good fit, you must already be working on a plan B, because maybe they have a lot of skill set, and especially if you're in our industry, you're low, you don't have enough staff, right? We're all low staffed. So you may not be able to afford this person. Then you need to be strategizing a plan of action. How are you going to replace this person within the next few weeks? You may not be able to let them go immediately. So who are you pairing with this person that is getting training on the job? Who are you hiring to replace that position? Because if someone is not a culturally good fit, you will not be able to fix it because it's not going to fit in the culture of the company. You also may have a person who is a high performer and not necessarily get along with the team. And that leads them to be hard to manage because they don't get along with other team members. And sometimes they point the finger at other team members saying that, oh, those other team members are not really carrying their load. For example, right, in a restaurant setting, it happens all the time. Maybe that person is a server looking at other servers, or the cooks look at servers, and there is that kind of an environment going on. It is hard to manage those kinds of individuals as well. And the question you need to ask yourself, is it that this person is a high performer, pointing fingers at others who actually are not carrying their load, and you as a manager need to be aware of that and shift your focus in raising other people's leadership and develop them? Or is it that this person is a whining person, just complaining, pointing fingers, and actually is not where they need to be in when it comes to their own performance? So this is not as easy of a topic to talk about. Your first thing is that you need to figure out, why is this person hard to manage? Why does their name keep coming up in your management conversations when you're talking to your team or your managers? This person's name keeps coming up. You need to draw your focus and address the issue at hand. Now I'm going to give you some general tips here on how to handle employees that may be a little bit hard to manage. You must lead with empathy and gratitude no matter what. You know what I mean? You need to find something to be grateful for. You need to find something to show empathy to this team member. They're a part of this team. They're coming on the job. They're under your roof. You need to make it happen. We need staff, and you know it. Sometimes that actually fixes it. A lot of times, you know how it is. With children, sometimes they throw a tantrum because they want a parent's attention. That's in some psychology books some big shot people came up with. Sometimes a team member is hard because they have not had enough time with you. So if you make the time, show empathy, get to know them, and build rapport, you may even see their performance improve. I wanted to recommend you check out another show I have in the description below, where I talk about why good employees quit. And sometimes that is all they need, is a little bit of time from you in a highly structured, high substance meeting from you, where they're recentered, they're repurposed, why they're here. The tip number 2 I have is a lot evolves around money. Money matters. There are these stats that go out. That's not the main reason people have bills to pay. And especially if you're a restaurant owner, you know that people are not making that much money. People that we hire are not making $60K a year. They need money. And sometimes they're a little bit disengaged or grumpy a little bit because they don't feel valued, because they don't see what's next for them, right? So it is important, I guess it goes back into having those one-on-ones to find out, is money an issue? So, and the way you ask that is that, hey, I want to ask you on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you with the money that you're making while you work here? And that's going to give you an insight. On a scale of 1 to 10, they're going to tell you 8 or 9, or they're going to say 6 or 7. Tell me more. Unpack that. Tell me more, a little bit about that. And maybe they tell you, well, I think I should be getting a raise. And you're like, you know what? Maybe imagine in the case of a cook, I would love to give you a raise. Let's talk about it. Currently, how many hours? Maybe 25. Listen, I need you to work minimum of 30 hours a week. And then also think about how can they get a raise, right? You're not saying that they're capable of doing that, but you're like, you know what? If you learn how to do inventory on Sundays and help Johnny with doing inventory after 3 consecutive weeks of you conducting it, I'm happy to give you $1 raise, but I'm going to require you that moving forward, once a month, you conduct our inventory, and it needs to be accurate. What are your thoughts on that? Maybe like, you know what? I'm happy to learn how to conduct inventory. Great. Let's come up with a game plan. I'm going to match you with Johnny for the next 2 Sundays. I'm going to put you on the schedule so you can learn to whatever it is. And you need to craft something in writing so the person knows the expectations you have of them. And I'm sure you are so busy. You are burdened with so much. Give away your responsibilities to other team members. Give them a raise, 50 cents here, whatever. That really doesn't make that much a difference unless it does. Discern. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you, discern. Give some of your responsibilities to someone else, maybe, that is going to lower your burden so you can focus on higher dollar activity as a manager or as an owner. Last but not least, you need to be resetting expectations weekly. People forget what's expected of them. They get grumpy. They get to become hard to manage because they think they're doing an outstanding job, and you know they're not doing an outstanding job. Then you get grumpy with them, but you don't have the courage to have a one-on-one meeting with them and tell them the truth. Okay, maybe they're in the closing team and they're taking forever to close, and their closing quality isn't that good anyways. You come in the mornings, they always miss a few things when it comes to the closing, but the team members come exhausted because it took 2 hours to close. Obviously, they have loud music and they're not being very effective in the closing task, but they feel that you don't value them. They're here every Friday till midnight and you don't thank them, right? They get disengaged, they get grumpy, they don't listen to you, and they become hard to manage. And again, it goes back into giving feedback. Don't be a coward, be truthful, reset expectations weekly. And it goes back into point number 1, lead with gratitude. I appreciate I have you, Johnny, to help with the closing at nights. And I know you've been closing 3 nights a week for the last 6 months. And that is, we're grateful for that. I wanted to give you some feedback. How can we improve on this aspect? Tell me what's going on about this. How long is this taking? Is there any way I can help you to get that done faster? Do you need another person to close? Should we start ask a lot of questions, process the task that they're not doing well, find out the source of it and giving them feedback. Reset expectation. Always be using these terms a lot. Moving forward. So you're not bashing them for the past. You're saying, hey, moving forward, I really would like to see X, Y, and Z. Can we do that? Do you know exactly what I'm asking you? Repeat back to me what you just heard to make sure we're all on the same page. Moving forward, right? Resetting expectations will make management much easier. And you know what? You need to be ABT. Always be training team members because you may be losing people all the time, especially those who are hard to manage. You may not be able to reconcile that relationship, as I mentioned on that bonus tip further up. You need to have a plan B. Be cross-training all the time. So if that team member leaves, the team is taken care of. Our guests are taken care of. Let me know your thoughts on these tips and which one resonated with you more when it comes to managing hard employees. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Making Dough Show. I appreciate it. If you have not subscribed, be sure to do so. And you can go to our website, www.makingdoughshow.com. Download a lot of the free resources we have there for you. And until then, let's get back to work and make some dough. Thank you. Bye-bye.